And we are back. Welcome back, everybody, to this live stream. We are here this time for the qualifying session here for the United States Grand Prix. I am once again JW97, and I'm once again joined by Ra.
Yep, hello everybody.
So we are here for qualifying this time, and as you can see, the rain has continued for qualifying, but not as excessively as the last one because well, maybe it could be the case for Q2. I have to wait and see because we've got rain for all three sessions, but different percentages. In Q1, we've got a 35% chance of rain, but as you can see, it's going to start off dry, as you can see on the left hand side. And it's still going to be sunny, so perhaps we could still get a dry session out of this. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe it's changeable, but 100% rain for Q2 and 90% for Q3. So Q2 and Q3 are ones to potentially look out for. So without further ado, let's get into the qualifying session. So your predictions then, Ra. Who do you believe will be eliminated in Q1?
Both Manners, both Hassers, a Williams, and an Alfa Romeo.
I'm gonna say both Hassers, both Manners, and I fancy myself both Williamses. So that's my prediction. As you can see, as predicted, they're all going to be on the dry tyres to start off with. So who knows? Maybe we're only going to get one lap on the dry tyres, or maybe
Well, it
not.
is
It depends on
raining.
how. Yes, but could it wet up? That is the question. Because as you saw there, it's only light rain that we've got there. Yes, it's 35%, but it is the light colour, which usually means light rain. So we will have to wait to see, of course, if it does wetten up or not. So anyway, we've got some cars on track, and it's Daniel Fraser who's going to be first on the racetrack. How many good laps will he get? Will all these guys get? We'll have to wait and see. Now, a reminder as well for anybody who's just joined us, Roland Motrin, of course, has a 10-place grid penalty for causing a crash with George Rote last week in Japan. So wherever he ends up in qualifying today, he will drop 10 places back. So be aware of that one. But Fraser is the first one out on track as he just makes his way through into the S's. And let's have a look then at what the chat's saying. There's not many in chat at the moment, but Fong Chan has said both Manners, both Williams, a Haas and an Alpha. That's the prediction that he's put down as he makes his way through the section of corners. And so coming in towards the hairpin now then. And now out of the hairpin we go now then as he goes out of the corner using all the curb on the outside as he'll now make his way down towards the back straight before heading towards the left-hander. I'm just trying to have a look on the mini-map there to see if everybody goes out on the racetrack now then. And there's still some cars in the pit lane. Now we've got the graphic up on the left-hand side which usually tells us. So I'm just seeing if all of them get out before Fraser starts his lap. It should do, as we saw in previous tracks, but we'll never know, of course. We're not at Austria, of course, because that's usually where traffic could be a big problem. But I think all 22 cars are now out on the track, and they'll all be hoping that the track is dry enough for them to set a competitive lap before potentially the track potentially gets wet. We'll have to wait and see on that one, as Q-Pop was the last car to come out onto the racetrack. So anyway, and why are we pausing, Yuri? I don't know why we're pausing. Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, Watson.
Hmm. See. 21 cars for some reason, so keep an eye on that one. It might just be a glitch. We'll have to wait and see. But anyway, Fraser comes up towards the first corner, and we'll make out to see if there are 21 cars out there or not. Maybe we'll have to do a restart for qualifying if that is the case. But anyway, first few laps then, Fraser goes into the S's. He now makes his way through the section of corners. And now in towards the left-hander we go. As now Fraser will make his way through into the right. And then into the left-hander he will go now then. Using all the curb on the outside before making his way down towards the hairpin. And so now into the hairpin he goes now then. As now he makes his way out of the turn. Before making his way now then towards the left-hander. I do wonder potentially if there are 21 cars out there, maybe somebody may have got some damage potentially and they've come back into the pits. It's a bit of an ask, but then again, we said that when Fraser was about to start a lap, so I highly doubt that's the case. But anyway, 58.174 for Fraser in the middle sector as now they make their way through the section of corners now then. And now in towards the section of corners now then through the left-hander, as now he will make his way through the triple right-hander we go, and or quadruple right-hander I think, because there's actually 4 there. But anyway, into the second to last corner. We'll see if there are 22 cars out there on the track or 21. We'll have to wait and see if that number there is just a glitch or not. But anyway, Fraser out of the final turn, onto the pitch straight he will go. And across the line now then, he will go now then. And he does a 1 minute 33.582. Chatfield goes to the top. Byrne now goes to the top by a tenth of a second. Galloway across the line by 0.8 of a second. Carr across the line. He goes top now then. Griffiths now then comes down the pit straight. And Griffiths is now going to cross the line. And he goes into 6th. Lopez down the pit straight. He will go. The championship leader. Could he potentially top Carr? And yes, he can by 0.3 of a second. So it's currently a Mercedes 1-2. Chung now then across the line. She will now go. And she will go 6th. Motrin crosses the line. He goes 4th. Dudu Kirby now then across the line. He will go. And he goes into 9th. Rope goes into 6th. Sontag across the line. He will go now then. And he goes into 11th. Martinez crosses the line. Goes into 14th. 4th meanwhile for Roberto Gamba. Joseph Willows crosses the line. Goes into 7th. For Derry now then across the line. He goes 11th. Gomez 6th. Franco Gamba across the line. He goes into 4th. De Rosa now then crosses the line. Goes into 6th. Wilson crosses the line now then. And she goes 15th. And is there 21 cars? That's the question. 15. And yeah, so who's missing?
Miklos Gal.
Gal's missing. Seems that Gal's missing for some reason. So, a reason for that, Yuri? See if let's see if he reappears then. It might just be one of these rare occasions then. So Fraser in the box now then. And let's see then. So far the track is not wetting enough at the moment. So if Gal does come out, in fact I think it's actually stopping in fact on one section of the track. I think the rain is starting to stop in one section as we just saw there. Let's see if Gal does appear in the garage when everybody comes into pit lane. As we go through the section of corners now then. As let's see, and as there's a bit of a clog there, a bit of a traffic jam. It's the third garage down is where the Red Bull should be. And as now more cars coming to pit lane now then. So the pit lane then goes Franco Gamba, as he will now come into pit lane himself then. Let's see if Gal does reappear then. And as we go down pit lane, as yeah, there's his car. I just saw his car there, Yuri. There he is. So he has now appeared. So what exactly happened then? Did he get some damage or did he just not bother going out? Let's have a look then as we go to the beginning. He didn't bother going out. He just waited around, it seems. So,
That's a weird thing.
It's a bit weird then. So, I don't know if it's this track or what, but Gal decided to stay in the pit lane for this one. But he is here now, so there's no problem. So Gal is going to wait. Laura just said, Gal got a timeout. No driving for you. And he was okay. So Yuri just clarified something in the stream chat there for Evan because he asked a question there. So if anybody who has not got the stream chat on, because we are aware that there are some people who don't actively take part in the stream chat. There are some people out there who do watch it but don't type in the stream chat, specifically named Will Neller. So what Evan just asked there was, how's the garage order going to work from next season in the fantasy era? Well, Yuri has confirmed to us that he'll be doing it in constructor order, because in previous seasons, we've just had it dictated how the mod has dictated it from the real life F1 season. While in the fantasy era, we're going to be doing manual garage positions for everyone, really. So at the moment, as it would stay as it is right now, if we were to take the Constructors' Championship as it is right now, if it were to stay as it is, obviously Mercedes would occupy the first garage, then Red Bull would get the second one, and then it would be Aston Martin, then Renault, then McLaren, then Ferrari, then AlphaTauri, then Alfa Romeo, then Williams, then Haas, and then Lamborghini. I do believe you may have already said that at some point, Yuri, so I don't think I need to reiterate. But anyway, luckily for Gal, at least, the track has not wetted up, so he should be able to get a clean, dry lap in, as he is out on track, as we already understand. But Chatfield is the first on track for the second runs of Q1, and he'll be hoping there's no traffic on the exit of the pit lane as he makes his way through into the first corner. And luckily for him, there was no traffic, so he's going to get a clean second lap in. But we were speaking there, whilst we were speaking there, wondering if Gal would actually appear. So far, it is a Mercedes 1-2 with Lopez at the top car in second and Galloway currently in third ahead of the two Gambas. Franco Gamba in fourth and Roberto Gamba in fifth position. Currently in the drop zone, well, obviously Gal's in the drop zone because he hasn't done a time yet, but also as well we have Fraser, Kirby, Sontag, Griffiths and Martinez. Of course, a reminder for anybody who's just joined into the stream, of course, Roland Motrin does have a 10-place grid penalty for this race for causing a crash with George Roke in the last race in Japan where he rejoined dangerously at the two Degner corners. So wherever he ends up in qualifying today, he will drop 10 places back. So Chatfield is up on his personal best in the first sector. He's now going to be approaching the end of sector 2 very, very soon as he now makes his way through into the left-hander. And let's see what his second sector is like. 2 tenths up on his personal best that time by. He's currently in 12th position. He could get himself into the top 10 if he keeps this up, but we'll have to wait and see as he makes his way through the stadium section of this Austin circuit. And for anybody wondering, because we didn't mention it in practice, the tyres we are using here for the United States Grand Prix is the soft tyres, the red soft tyres. The last 2 races we were using the mediums. This race we are using the soft tyres. So be very interested to see if it's wet tomorrow, how the wear rate pans out for the wet conditions. Because usually, as we saw in Malaysia, although that was medium tyres, you do often see huge comebacks being happening there. But Chatfield goes up into 6th there, so a big improvement for him there. Bernie's also up on his personal best. He's currently in 10th position. Let's see what the AEW branded Renault does. Into the final turn then goes the Irishman as he makes his way onto the pit straight, and Evan Byrne now then will come across the line. And is he going to improve on his 10th position? He is. He goes up to 4th, so 3rd and 4th for the moment for the 2 Renault drivers. Here comes Jamie Griffiths. He just comes out of the final turn, and here comes the Welshman. Then across the line he will go, and he does not improve, stays in 20th. Here comes Mikos Gal, first time on the board for him. Where's he going to go in comparison to the Mercedes? Across the line, and he goes only 7th that time by, so only 5th and 7th for the Red Bulls at the moment. Amar Khan, meanwhile, is up on his personal best. Can he get himself back to the top of the timing sheets? Car now then comes across the line, and yes he can by 4 tenths of a second. A 1 minute 30.739 for Amar Khan. Fraser up on his personal best, and he goes up to 10th. A big improvement there for Daniel Fraser. He gets into the top 10. Roberto Gamba gets above his cousin into 5th. Lopez didn't improve. He stays in 2nd place for the meantime. Chung all the way down in 15th. She's not up on her personal best. She's got Franco Gamba right behind him at the moment. And now Chung comes down the pit straight, and Laura Chung currently in 15th across the line, and she stays in 15th. Franco Gamba across the line, doesn't improve, stays in 6th. So the Red Bulls struggling at the moment, it seems, in 6th and 7th. Kirby, 19th only for him at the moment. Videri gets into 15th, pushes Chung on the cusp right now then. Felix Sontag across the line, no improvement, stays in 20th. De Rosa doesn't improve. Motrin across the line, goes up into 10th, gets above Fraser, so Motrin not in the best position so far. Willow's up on his personal best. He crosses the line and goes up into 10th position, gets above the Motrin. Here comes David Kupok, and no improvement for him at this point in time. As now we look at Gabriel Gomez, who just came out of the final turn, and the Brazilian crosses the line, and he stays in 13th position. George Roke up on his personal best. Across the line he will go, and he gets up into 3rd. He gets himself into the top 3 there, does George Roke. Here comes Rosetta Martinez in the manor. Across the line he will go, and he gets up into 20th. Pushes the Williamses onto the back row of the grid at this point in time. And they are the second runs done with the 2 Mercedes currently 1-2. But so far are the Red Bulls currently struggling.
Yep, indeed. 7th and 8th for them, behind the Red Nose and Roberto Gamba, and also George Roque as well. Yeah, they could turn it around, but we will see. And also Kupok, surprisingly, in the drop zone, not looking good for him.
Indeed so, and as we're speaking there, Kupok currently in the drop zone at the moment, currently down in 17th, with Chung currently in the cusp of it at the moment, so still keeping herself into it at the moment, but at the moment, not looking good for both Chung and Kupok at this point in time, and Chung could be under pressure from being knocked out in Q1 at the moment if anybody in the bottom 6 start to improve. So far, the track has not wetted up yet, so I think we could be looking at a dry session here, but Q2 and Q3 could be very, very interesting, because as we mentioned, there's a 100% chance of rain in Q2 and a 90% chance for Q3, so you're definitely going to see rain in those 2 sessions, especially with all the rain that's currently roaming around the circuit at the moment, so expect it to wetten up potentially after this session, or maybe towards the end of this session. We'll have to wait and see. Depends on how quickly it wettens up. But now, Wilson now then through into turn 2. She will go now then, as she's going to be the first on track for the third and potentially final flying lap of Q number 1 now then, as she makes her way through the fast S's section, as she'll now make her way through into the left-hander now then, before she'll make her way through the right and then into the left-hander she will go now then, and using a bit of curb on the outside, making her way down towards the left-hander, as now she'll make her way towards the hairpin with just over 4 minutes to go now then. Also on the track we have Gal, who is out on track again, same for Chatfield as well, so only 3 cars going on track, but now Almar Carr joins them. Question is, will Wilson get any traffic when she starts her next flying lap, as the clouds continue to glow? As you can see now, in fact, the clouds are starting to cloud over this track, so we're starting to see some darker clouds around on the racetrack now then, as now Wilson makes her way through the stadium section, you could say now here, as now she'll make her way into the left-hander, and now using the curb on the outside before she makes her way through the quadruple right-hander. I think it is quadruple and not a triple, as I was calling it in practice. Coming into the final 2 turns then goes Amelia Wilson. She'll now make her way into the final corner, as now coming out the final corner and onto the pit straight then goes Amelia Wilson, and she will now come across the line and she will start a lap now then. Is there any traffic on the left hand side? There is some cars coming out, but luckily it's far ahead of Amelia, so Amelia should be able to get a clean lap in and one more chance to try and get herself into Q2, providing the track doesn't wetten up, of course. As now in towards the mimicked Maggots and Beckett section of the track, through the left and then into the double right-hander she will now go now then, as she flings the car in through the section of corners, and she's only just under a tenth down on her personal best in the first sector. Into the right and then into the left-hander she goes, trying to see if she can get maybe just a tad bit of slipstream from the Renault in front, as she tries to use the Mercedes power to her advantage in the back of her manner. Into the hairpin now then she goes, using the curve on the outside and now making her way down towards the back straight now then, before heading towards the left-hander. And now let's see what Wilson can do, as now into the left-hander we go, as now through the left and then in towards the double right-hander, as she actually found some time in fact in the middle sector, because she's now only 54 thousandths down on her personal best compared to 98,000 that she was in the first sector. So she continue with this. She could find an improvement, but probably not enough to get her through into Q2. Into the triple right-hander she goes now then, and now she'll make her way into the final 2 corners now then, into the second to last corner, and now into the final corner comes the home favourite, Amelia Wilson. One thing to point out as well, this is her home race. She wants to do well in front of her adoring crowd. Amelia Wilson comes down the pit straight. Across the line she will go. Can she find some time in the last sector to improve? No, she can't. She remains in 18th, and she is out, I'm afraid. So Wilson is out, as we now look at Chris Chatfield, who's making his way towards the last 2 turns. He is not up on his personal best at the moment, as he'll now make his way into the final corner on the racetrack. And now down the pit straight he goes now then, as Chris Chatfield is going to cross the line. What can he do? And he doesn't improve, remains in 9th. Galley's up on his personal best and he goes up to 4th, so he gets behind George Rote for the moment. Motrin just giving himself enough time to do one more lap, same with other cars. Behind, here comes Almar Carr, who's up on his personal best as the rain continues to increase, but so far the track is not wetting it up. He's up on his personal best. He could improve even further on his 1 minute 30.7, but in fact I think he's made a mistake, because look at that lap time. He's way off his personal best. I think he's made a mistake. In fact he has. It's at the stadium section. He was up on his personal best and now he's thrown it all away there on a possible improvement.
Yep, indeed. Made a big mistake at the stadium section and went on the gravel, goes wide, and yeah, pretty big mistake from Almar Carr, but it's only Q1.
Indeed so, and given the speed he was approaching that corner, he's very lucky not to get himself into the barrier there, as Daniel Fraser, who's being held up by Martinez, doesn't improve, and he is currently in 13th position, so far he's looking potentially safe to go through into Q number 2. Here is Evan Byrne, who also looks secure to get through into Q2 because he's up in 6th position, but he is down on his personal best. Into the final turn then goes the Irishman, making his way down the pit straight now then, and across the line will go Evan Byrne. And what can he do in the last sector? He only just isn't able to improve. Griffiths, meanwhile, is up on his personal best. Last chance for him to get himself into Q2. Across the line Goes the Welshman. Can he do it? And no, he can't. He only gets up into 20th. Lopez doesn't improve. Willows up on his personal best. Gets up into 8th. Gets in front of Franco Gamba, in fact. Jake Galloway. Across the line he goes. He remains in 5th position. Roberto Gamba coming out of the final turn at the moment, as he will now make his way onto the pit straight now then, and Roberto Gamba crosses the line now then, and he does not improve. Dudu Kirby is up on his personal best. He's currently in the drop zone.
Jukebox
Across the
for
line
now.
goes as Kupok goes up to 14th, pushing Chung down into the drop zone. Kirby goes up into 17th. So Chung under a bit of pressure to try and get herself out of Q1. Here comes Roland Motrin now then, as he now makes his way onto the pit straight up on his personal best. Across the line he goes, and he only goes up into 10th position, that time by Videri. Goes up into 13th. Sontag across the line. No improvement. What's Chung doing? Across the line, goes up to 5th. Saves herself. Sontag is out. Gomez, I think, could be potentially out. Gama doesn't improve. And so Chung has just saved herself there. Here comes Martinez. Last chance for him to try and get himself into Q2, but it's not looking likely because he is down on his personal best on the death panel there. Across the line goes Martinez. No improvement, stays in last position. Gomez is up on his personal best, so he's giving himself one more chance. This could push out Kupok here if he's not careful. Let's see. Gomez, can he push Kupok out of qualifying? Gomez now then. Across the line he goes. In the Alfa Romeo. And yes, he can. Kupok out of qualifying. He's in 17th position. I don't know if he's on a lap. I don't think he is.
He's
So
not.
I think he's not on a lap, so Kupok is out. Gomez has just saved himself. Both Alfa Romeos through then into Q2 along with Daniel Fraser there. But Kupok once again out in Q1, Roth. I think the 3rd time in 4 races, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that is a really big shock for him. Down in 17th, and yeah, he's not had the pace here in these wet qualifying sessions. But this is on dry. This is on a dry track basically, and that's a bigger surprise.
Indeed so, but both Alfa Romeos through, and so is Daniel Fraser. So that's the celebrations there on both camps, and well, that's that really then. So we've got our top 16 that go through into Q2 then, and our bottom 6 is secure then. But it is a Mercedes 1-2 at the end of Q1 then. So let's have a look at the results then. Carr, Lopez and Rocco, your top 3, and your bottom 6. David Kupok, Felix Sontag, so both Germans will be sharing row 9 unless Roland Motrin's 10-place grid penalty puts them in that position. Dudu Kirby 19th, Amelia Wilson 20th, Jamie Griffiths 21st, and Rosetta Martinez in 22nd position. So we're just going to take a brief pause for the moment, and then we'll be back for Q2. And yeah, a very, very huge shock there in David Kupok going out in Q number 2 for the 3rd time in 4 races. So that's that really. And well, that's that. So I'm just going to tweet sorted out, guys. So apologies if I go a little bit silent for the moment, but I'm sure you can understand as I'm trying to get a photograph of Armor Car, and which I've just been able to get actually. No, I haven't, because I've got the frame there a bit wrong. So just for that. But yeah, Joe. Yeah. So whilst we're waiting, then guys, you can let us know your prediction on who you believe will be eliminated in Q2, whilst we go and sort everything out. And so that's that really. Wonder if on that track then, because you know in the 2nd and 3rd runs, then I wonder if it's taken that setting and also applied it on the first lap in Austin. Just a thought there, but probably that. Leave it at that then. So, be Oh, great. Wait a moment, guys. We're just going to get Q2 underway very, very soon. And obviously, we had the shop Q1, obviously, with David Kupok being eliminated in Q1 for the third time in 4 races. Laura Chung, of course, getting very close to being eliminated, but obviously, in the end, she managed to get herself in the top 10 in the end to avoid elimination. And so that's that, really. It's we're just gonna wait for the stream, and I'll answer your question in just a little bit, Rob, because you've just sent me a DM. But there we go. Then there is the 100% chance of rain then that we're going to get set for in Q2. But it looks like it's going to be normal wets that we're going to be seeing in this session, as you can tell from the color code. So 100% chance of rain for Q2 and normal wet tires, and we're going to get underway. So in your opinion, Ra, who do you believe is going to get eliminated then in Q2?
Good to say both Alfa Romeos, Daniel Fraser. I'd say Chatfield, a Renault, and a Racing Point.
Okay, I'm going to say both Alfa Romeos, Fraser, Chatfield. I think I'm going to go bold and say Motrin, so one of the Racing Points, actually. And I'm going to go with... let's go for a Renault then. So a Renault, a Racing Point, Chatfield, Fraser, and then both Alfa Romeos. So that's my prediction. But anyway, normal wet tyres are on the car now, as you can see. And the first car on the track is a McLaren, I think, as we've got some cars going out onto the racetrack. And it is going to be Kirishima De Rosa that's going to be first on the racetrack now then. Although the skies are still pretty bright, as you can see at the moment. So we've not got cloud cover at this point in time. So, from Chanik has said Fraser, Chatfield, both Alphas, a Ferrari, and a Racing Point is his prediction. So that's that. As now through into the S's, then goes Kirishima De Rosa. As now he'll make his way through into the section of corners. Through the right-hander, then will go De Rosa, and then into the left-hander he goes. Using the curve on the outside, there's some more cars have joined him on the track in the form of Franco Garva, Evan Byrne, Andre Verderi, Franco Lopez, Roland Motrin, Joseph Willows, and Jake Galloway. But then a few more cars decided to come out just as I was speaking there, so how rude. So as now coming down the back straight now, then goes De Rosa as he prepares for his next lap. And I do think all cars will come out this time, Yuri, because of course you've got one selected as an AI, so all 16 should come out this time by. As coming out of the hairpin goes De Rosa, as he'll now make his way towards the right. And as you can see, look, all 16 cars are now on track, so you shouldn't have the issue that we had in Q1 with Gal there. So De Rosa now then, just coming around the double left-hander. Now, usually in the race in these wet conditions, you do see a lot of mistakes going through into there, usually caused by aquaplaning. So whether we'll get wet conditions tomorrow, it's going to be another question. But anyway, De Rosa now then, into the final 2 corners, and then into the final turn it goes. Of course, it was wet here last season. Again, whether it will be the same this season, that's going to be another question. Out of the final corner, onto the pit straight then, as De Rosa is about to start his first flying lap of Q2. All 16 cars out on track, so we shouldn't have any issues with traffic, as now De Rosa now makes his way up towards the first corner. Into the first corner we go now then, as he makes his way now then down towards turn 2. Through the second corner. And now in towards these S's now, then through the left, then the right, then into the left, and then into the double right-hander, then we'll go De Rosa. Now in towards the left-hander now then, so through the left and then into his next section of corners, 21.143 for De Rosa in the first sector, 20.395 for Franco Gamba, 21.3 exactly for Verderi, as it's a 20.661 for Lopez. So in fact, Gamba is actually up on Lopez in the first sector. We did talk about in practice how the Red Bull seemed to have a little bit of an advantage on than the Mercedes in wet conditions, as we've seen in the last few races. As De Rosa makes his way down towards the end of the back straight before he approaches the end of sector 2. 20.805 is meanwhile, in fact, Lopez. That could explain why Lopez is down, because in fact he was stuck behind De Rosa, but he's actually been able to overtake him. Probably got some healthy slipstream down that back straight from De Rosa. He does a 1 minute 5.278, a 1 minute 6.885 for De Rosa. That would have been because of Lopez getting past him, although Lopez gets a little bit loose there, and luckily doesn't do the same mistake as what Carr did earlier on. But yeah, a little error there from Lopez. A 1 minute 5.437 for Franco Gamba. So now he makes his way towards the final two turns, then into the second to last corner, and then into the final corner will come Franco Lopez. Now through the final turn and onto the pit straight he will go, and let's see what Lopez can do. Across the line he will now go, and he does a 1 minute 45.535, a 148 for De Rosa because of what Lopez did there. Garma across the line, goes fastest by 10th. Here comes Verderi, goes into third. Here comes Burn around the final corner. Now, of course, let's not forget there is a soft and hard compound of the normal wet tyre, so do bear in mind that in case you're wondering why the gaps may be too big. Here comes Evan Byrne now then across the line, and he goes into third as it's P1 for Roland Mottram, 1.5 seconds quicker than Gamba, so I think he may be on the softer normal wet tyre. As now into the final turn, Galloway went into fifth position, just slotting behind his teammate there. Here comes Roberto Gamba across the line, he will go. And let's see, he goes into fourth position. Here comes Joseph Willows, and he's way off the pace. I wonder if he's made a mistake somewhere. 6.9 seconds off as it's P2 for Amar Carr. I wonder if Willows did he make a mistake, because I wouldn't imagine that being a time that you would set on the hard normal. Yeah, it was at the second to last corner that Willows made the mistake, and as you can see, he just went a bit too quick and went way too wide there. So a mistake there from Joseph Willows, and he'll need to go out again and try and do a better lap. P2 for Carr, just slotting behind Mottram. P7 for George Roque. Gabriel Gomez goes into 8th as here comes Chris Chatfield. He slots to 3rd in the AlphaTauri. Here comes Daniel Fraser. Across the line he goes in the Haas, and he goes into 8th. A good time for him there. P10 for Laura Chung. And there's just one more car, I think, waiting to cross the line. Gal, and he goes into only 11th there. So Gal actually in the drop zone there. So some very interesting results, mainly due to the different compound of normal wet tyres. But at the moment, Mottram, who of course has that 10-place grid penalty, is currently at the top, Ra.
Yep, indeed. Also, it can change, so yeah, there'll be a lot of improvements coming up soon.
But imagine as well, especially from Joseph Willows, who of course made that mistake into the second to last corner, going wide there, going a bit too quick. So expect an improvement for Willows, and of course anybody who was on the hard compound of the normal wet tyre, expect them to improve as well, because they'll probably go onto the softs a little bit later on. Same wise for Gal, because I do believe his time may have been done on the harder compound of the normal wet tyre, but we will see, as Lopez will get brought back into the garage. And so start really, and we wait for the second runs to happen, with Mottram coming at the top, and your bottom 6 at the moment being Miklos Gal, Gabriel Gomez, Jake Galloway, Andre Verderi, Kirishima De Rosa, and Joseph Willows at the moment. So both McLarens currently in the drop zone as a result of this session at the moment. I think De Rosa, of course, both of them getting compromised on their laps. In fact, De Rosa, of course, getting overtaken by Franco Lopez on a lap, and of course Willows making that mistake into the second to last corner. And as all the cars are now going to be pushed back into their garages, and will be preparing for their second flying lap, as Mottram currently top with Carr in second, and Chatfield rounding out the top 3 as we speak at the moment, as Gal makes his way into the pit lane. Well, I will tell you for a fact as well, whoever ends up qualifying in P11 for this session will definitely be in the top 10 for tomorrow, because of course of Mottram's 10-place grid penalty. That will definitely put him outside of the top 10 regardless of where he goes. So whoever ends up 11th in this session, they will definitely start on row 5 for tomorrow's United States Grand Prix. Unless, of course, Mottram gets eliminated. That's the thing there, just to put a little but there, as Fraser gets wheeled back into the garage. Currently in the top 10. Can he get the Haas into Q3? That is going to be a question. Of course, scoring his first points in the OC last time out in Japan. Could he be having another good session here in qualifying? As Lopez is going to be going out on track right now, and he shouldn't get held up by De Rosa this time by, so he should be able to get a clean lap in, unless somebody comes out of the pits right in front of him and eliminates him, as Lopez comes out on the track now then, as he'll now make his way down towards the right-hander now then, the long swooping right-hander, as he'll now make his way into the S's. So through the left, then the right, then into the left-hander, and then into the double right then will go Lopez. And now in towards the left, and now into the right and left. A lot of sequence of corners here as some more cars are out on track now. Then with Lopez, you've got Franco Gamba out there, Evan Byrne is out there, as is Armar Carr, so both Mercedes are out there, and as is Kirishima De Rosa at this point, as is Roberto Gamba. Some more cars flying out of the track to start a second flying lap very, very soon. As now Lopez makes his way down the back straight now then, before making his way towards the left-hander. And now coming up towards the left-hander he goes now then. As he's on the normal wet tyres, of course. Whether it's a softer or harder one, we'll have to wait and see. I'd imagine it's going to be the softer one, but you never know, of course, as Lopez goes around the corner where he made a mistake, of course, as well. So there's probably more time to find around here as well compared to the hold-up he had with De Rosa a little bit earlier on. Gal's still waiting at the moment, but he should be coming out on track very soon. I think he is, judging for that mini-map. So luckily for Lopez, he shouldn't get held up by anybody. So he should be able to get a clean lap in unless he makes a mistake like he did on the first flying lap then. So into the second to last corner, and then making his way down towards the final corner then will go the defending champion and current championship leader, who leads, of course, by 38 points ahead of Armar Carr and a further 8 ahead of Miklos Gal. Lopez starts his next flying lap now then as he makes his way up towards turn 1 on the circuit, flinging the car in for the first corner and then using the curb on the outside before making his way down towards turn 2. Now he'll make his way in towards the S's now then, so flinging it in for the left, then the right, then into the left, and then into the double right-hander we go now then, and he's 4 thousandths off of Motrin in the first sector, so a very strong first sector there for Lopez, 2 temps up on his personal best through the next section of course for the right and then into the left before making his way down towards the hairpin through this little kink now then, and then down towards the hairpin before making his way down the long back straight. Into the hairpin goes the Argentine now then as he comes off the turn now then before making his way down the back straight now then, and now heading down towards the exit, the end of the back straight. We'll have to see what his second split is going to be like. It's just before the next corner after this one. So through the left, and then he'll soon be approaching the end of sector 2. Let's see what his second sector is like. And he's up on Motrin by 89 thousandths of a second. I mean, exactly a second up on his personal best in the middle sector. And of course, this is where he made a mistake earlier, so some more time he'll have to gain. And this time by no such mistake for Franco Lopez, as he'll now make his way towards the quadruple right-hander now then, as he'll now approach the final 2 corners in on the racetrack. So into the second to last corner and then into the final corner. I wondered if this may be his final flying lap given the time we've got on the top of your screen. So a lot of these guys could be on their final laps, so we'll have to wait and see. Lopez down the pit straight and across the line will go the Argentine. Can he go to the top of the timing sheets across the line? And yes, he can by 0.2 of a second, a 1:43.583. De Rosa up on his personal best. He needed to because, of course, he did get compromised by Lopez on his first flying lap across the line, and he goes up into 6th, so that pushes Chung into the drop zone. Franco Gamba is up on his personal best. He's currently in 5th position. What can the Italian do? Cross the line, he will go, and he goes up to 4th, gets above Chris Chatfield. Here comes Evan Byrne now then, into the final turn. He's not up on his personal best. He's currently in 8th position, and he's currently holding up Armar Carr at the moment. So now coming down the straight, and now then across the line. I wonder if Carr tried to compromise in. He doesn't improve. Carr does though. Gets up into 3rd. So may have got some slipstream there from Byrne. P4 now for Roberto Gamba. Here comes Gabriel Gomez. He's currently in the drop zone himself as he now makes his way into the final corner. He's got Joseph Willows right behind him. Into the final turn. Onto the pit straight then goes the 2017 DTM champion as Gomez now then comes across the line. Can he find some time in the last sector? I doubt it, and he doesn't improve, stays in 13th. Willows crosses the line and goes only 10th with that lap, and 4th now for Galloway. Willows back down into the drop zone. That could be danger here, because he might be out in this section as Roke goes into 10th, pushes Fraser down into the drop zone now. But Derry up on his personal best. He goes 14th now then. Here comes Chung. Can she get out of the drop zone? No, she can't. Only 12th for her there. Fraser doesn't improve, stays in P11 ahead of Chung. Gal, meanwhile, is up on his personal best. He's in the drop zone. He needs to get out of it. Gal crosses the line, and he goes fastest by 25 thousandths of a second. Gal to the top of the timing sheet and pushes Roke now into the drop zone. And I think Roke might be out of it as a result because everybody's pitting this lap. And I think they're all the laps done with. I think here in queue number 2. We will just clarify we'll have to clarify, of course, but I think we've got our bottom 6 who are out of qualifying. We'll have to wait and see. Again, need some clarity when we get to the 1 minute 43 zone on the timer at the top of your screen. But I do think we've got our bottom 6 secure now then, as Lopez is going to get wheeled back into the garage. Same with De Rosa, who's just come into the pit lane there. And let's wait. So as the timer ticks down, 10 more seconds left. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And yep, that clarifies it then. So we've got our bottom 6. Roke, Fraser, Chung, Willows, Videri, and Gomez are all out. Everybody's done their laps. And, well, it's been a long time since we've seen Joseph Willows out in Q2, Ra.
Yep, indeed. Obviously, I'm not gonna say the word because why would I? But of
Yes.
course, the lap Fraser's done, P12, that's an amazing lap from him. He could start P11, depends on where Mochin will start.
Well, we do know that Roke will definitely be in the top 10, even though he is out in Q2. He will be on row 5 tomorrow, of course, because of his teammates' 10-place grid penalty. So Roke will start 10th tomorrow, regardless of where Motrin ends up in Q3. Of course, Motrin will be hoping he can be as high as he can and be around where he is in where he's finished in Q2, be around about where he is right now, in order for him to try and mitigate the damage that he's going to have to receive from that 10-place grid penalty, as De Rosa is just going out there just to get some mileage on the wet tyres. But he's made it through into Q3. Same cannot be said, though, for Joseph Willows, who's down in 14th, and Laura Chung out in Q2 in the Ferrari. So only Roberto Gamba is the remaining Ferrari for the remainder of qualifying. But Gal there, right on the last lap there, just able to save himself and get through into queue number 3 and goes fastest by 25 thousandths of a second ahead of Franco Lopez as now De Rosa makes his way through the section of corners and going through up the hill as we just wait for the seconds to tick down before we head back into the menu screen. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Checker flag is out and we go back to the menu screen and let's see again. So top 3, Gal, Lopez and Motrin, and your bottom 6 to remind you are George Rowe, Daniel Fraser, Laura Chung, Joseph Willows, Andre Videri and Gabriel Gomez. So we're just going to wait for a while, guys, and we'll get back underway for Q3, which of course has a 90% chance of rain to remind you. So we're still going to expect some rain in Q3, but whether the conditions will still be the same or not, that will be another question. Yeah, so expect 90% for Q3 as we are getting ready for the final part of qualifying. So let us know your predictions, guys, on who you believe will take pole position for tomorrow's United States Grand Prix. And I'll ask Ra in a little bit when we get into Q3 on who he believes will get pole position for tomorrow's race. So I'm just trying to grab a photograph of Gal and then the tweet up ready to go. So YouTube there was being a bit silly there, and I didn't get a chance there to grab an image of Gal there because of that. Well done, YouTube. So now we're just gonna wait a bit, and we'll get Q3 on the way, which of course has a 90% chance of rain. So as mentioned, guys, a little bit earlier, leave us your prediction on who you believe will take pole position for tomorrow's United States Grand Prix, bearing in mind, of course, the rain chance. So, I'm just going to get the tweet up and running, and then we'll get underway for Q3 in just a little bit once Yuri sorts out what he needs to sort out. Sorry if I go silent, guys, but just bear with. And there we go. That's the tweet sorted out there. And so as we're going to get underway, guys, as we just got the shots back. But as you can see, the rain conditions have got worse. It's going to be monsoon for queue number 3. So we're very interested to see who can keep their cool in these monsoon conditions. So I'll leave. So, Ra, question to you. Who do you believe will take pole position for tomorrow's United States Grand Prix?
I'd say Franco Gamba.
Okay, I'm going to go with Miklos Gal on this one because he looks. I'm going to go for it, but yeah, I'm going to go with that one. As you can see, the drivers are now out, are going to be going out on the extreme wet tyres. Ignore the one with Laura Chung because, of course, she's not taking part in this session as she got eliminated in Q2. And of course, a reminder as well for anybody who's just tuned in, Roland Motrin has a 10-place grid penalty, so wherever he ends up in this session, he will drop 10 places back. So that will mean definitely he will start outside of the top 10. So we know for a fact that George Rowe will indeed be starting in 10th position for tomorrow's United States Grand Prix. But it's going to be Evan Byrne that's going to be the first car out on track here in Q3. The Renault driver is just going out on the racetrack as Hello Rob has just joined us in the stream chat as he now goes out on the racetrack, although it is still bright skies up on the top there, so a little bit interesting there with the extreme wet conditions we have on the track. Anyway, and now then just comes out of turn 1 as he'll now make his way towards turn 2 and 3 as Amar Khan has also joined him out on the racetrack. So 2 cars currently present on the racetrack at this point in time. And I'm going to see who everybody else is predicted then for pole position. So Fonchanek has said Franco Lopez for pole position. Min has said Roberto Garma to take a shot pole position. Okay, going very bold there. Chris Chatfield said Gal for pole. So some variety there in terms of who they believe will get pole position for tomorrow's United States Grand Prix. And some more cars make their way out onto the racetrack. There's now 8 cars out on track in the form of Gamba. In the form of both Gambas. In fact, Byrne, DeRosa, Chatfield car. Well, that made that 9 now. Motrin, Galloway and Gal. And now we're just waiting for the last car to come out onto the racetrack, which I believe is Franco Lopez. We're just waiting for to go out there. And yes, it is. So Lopez has got out there now. Then, so all 10 cars are now out on track. As Evan Byrne is now preparing for his first flying lap of Q3. And as he now makes his way through his section of corners. And now into the left-hander will go the Irishman. He will be preparing to start his first flying lap of Q3. As he now makes his way through the quadruple right-hander now then will go the Irishman. And now into the final 2 corners. And into the second to last corner. And then into the final corner now then will go Evan Byrne. And now through the final turn. Onto the pit straight then will go Evan Byrne as he will now come across the line as he'll start his lap. And now he starts his lap now then. So up towards turn 1 he goes. Luckily for him, no traffic in front and he shouldn't get compromised by car behind because I think there is a little bit of a gap between the pair of them as they're just making their way out of the first corner. Carl will be hoping he doesn't catch up to Byrne and potentially get himself held up on his first flying lap. The left, then the right, then into the left, and then approaching the end of Sector 1 we will soon be coming up towards. And it's a 22.218 for Byrne in the first sector, a 21.645 for Carr in the first sector. As they now make their way through the section of cars. I'm just keeping an eye on the mirrors there because there's Carr's car there. And he is closing a bit now on Evan Byrne. But if he can catch him up on the straight, he could easily slipstream him and pass him before the corner. Although that may compromise Byrne's first lap. We'll have to wait and see. Into the hairpin then we go. Will Carr get by Byrne then down this back straight? That is going to be the question. A 21.924 for Franco Garma in the first sector. A 22.2 21.75 for Galloway, a 21.5 for Gall in the first sector. Carr doesn't look like he's going to go for the overtake at this point in time, so I don't know if he's going to get held up or not. At the moment, he's still a bit of a gap between himself and Byrne, but I think he's got to be a little bit careful. 1 minute 9.247 for Byrne in the second sector, a 1 minute 7.918 for Carr in the second sector, as they now make their way through the stadium section. But will Carr get held up in this last sector? Let's see then. So through the left-hander, and now coming up towards the last section of corners now down on the track. So through the right and then into the right now then. Now into the last two corners then goes Evan Byrne. Just trying to keep an eye on where Carr is on the track. And he's right behind him, in fact, so he might get held up here. He might have his lap compromised by Evan Byrne, although he will get some healthy slipstream down this pit straight. As now Byrne comes across the line now then, and he does a 1 minute 51.2, but gets immediately beaten by Carr, who goes 2.2 seconds quicker with a 1 minute 49.759. Here comes Franco Gamba, who seems to be way off of Carr at the moment in the sector points, as he now makes his way towards the final corner. And let's see what the man who will be, let's see what the guy who will be staying at Red Bull for next season does. Franco Gamba down the pit straight and across the line will go the Italian, and he goes into second, nearly a second off of Carr, so maybe that healthy bit of slipstream definitely helping Carr there. As Galloway crosses the line, slots into fourth. P3 now for Roberto Gamba. As here comes Gal, crosses the line, goes into fourth, a second off of Carr at this point in time. Here comes Chris Chatfield now then, as he now comes across the line, and he goes into 7th. P7 for De Rosa. Motrin across the line, he will go, and he goes second with that time. Here comes Franco Lopez. What can he do? Can he get to the top and get in front of Amar Carr? Lopez across the line, he will go, and he goes fastest by 18 thousandths of a second. So Lopez beats Carr to the top, and it is currently a Mercedes 1-2. Motrin is currently in third, meaning if it were to stay like this, he will start in 13th for tomorrow's United States Grand Prix. But yeah, we thought for a minute there that Carr had it done there with the slipstream, but in the end, Lopez just managing to grab it in the end on that first lap, Ra.
Yeah, indeed. So far, Mercedes doing well so far. The Red Bull was only 4th and 6th. Not the best first laps for them, but can they turn around? We don't know.
Now going through the quadruple right-hander now, then we'll go Amar Carr, as he now makes his way towards the final two corners, into the second to last corner, and then into the final corner then. Oh, well, not into the final corner, because he'll be coming back into the pits, but it is technically the final corner. Carr now then into the pits he goes, as we have just another 9 minutes to go here in Q3, and the next lap should be, I think, the final laps, judging from what we saw in Q2 with the normal wet tyres. So to wait and see on that, as Carr will get brought back into the garage, as Byrne is now into the pits in the Renault. And will anybody try and surpass the Mercedes in this session? Can the Red Bulls find the time that they found in Q2 to try and get back above them in the second flying laps? We will have to wait and see, as Byrne gets wheeled back into the garage now then. And now Byrne is now in the garage, as he's going to wait for the next run to happen. As the seconds again tick down, as there is Galloway, who's made it back to the pits himself. Both Renaults at the moment currently 7th and 8th, so far the pair of them are going to be occupying, regularly would be occupying row 4 on the grid, but given Motrin's grid penalty, they won't be locking out the same row at this point in time. As Motrin is in the garage, he's just trying to get as high as possible in this session to try and mitigate the damage he's going to have from that 10th place grid penalty. So, as we just have 7 and 3/4 minutes to go, just under that in fact, as Motrin gets wheeled back into the garage, as everybody is now in pit lane, as you can see with the pit symbols on the left hand side, and we're just waiting to see who's going to be the first on track for the second run. I would imagine it might be Amar Carr, but we'll wait and see, as we wait for the next runs to get underway, as the mechanics are working on Roland Motrin's car there. And just over 7 minutes to go then in this session, as we're going to ride on board, in fact, with Amar Carr to see if he actually goes out on track next. With just over 7 minutes to go, Laura Chung just watching on the spectators. Carr is now going out on the track, and will anybody else get out in front of him? And the answer to that is no. So Carr is going to be the first on track for the second and potentially final run of Q number 3. He will now make his way up the hill now then, before he makes his way in towards the first corner. And so he's going to be first on track. How long will it be until Byrne joins him? Because he was behind him on the track when they did the last laps. Turn 2 then goes Armar Cars. He now makes his way through the S's, through the left, then the right, then in the left, and it's going to be De Rosa, in fact, is going to be second on track, not Evan Byrne. Byrne just waiting about just a little bit at this point. And so still 8 cars in the garage as we speak. It's now Franco Gamba who's gone out on track. Byrne's still waiting, but now he's decided to go out. Byrne is going to be the 4th car on track for the second runs of Q3. And potentially the final runs as well. So these could be the final chance that the drivers have got to try and get on pole position. And so Carr now then just goes out of the hairpin as he's preparing to start his second flying lap. As he makes his way down straight now then before approaching the left-hander. And so now making his way towards that left-hander he will go. And now, as in fact, Danny has said as a late prediction there, Red Bull 1-2, and I think Rob said that as a prediction, car for pole he put down there. So unless he put that down when Byrne gave him a bit of a slipstream down the pit straight, I'm not 100% sure there. But anyway, in towards the triple right-hander, then we'll go Armar Car as he now makes his way through the section of corners. And now in towards the final 2 corners, then we'll go Armar Car through the second to last corner. And now into the final corner, go Armar Car, and he will now start his next flying lap very, very soon now then. And a second and final flying lap now then, because we have just under 5 minutes to go. But Carr now starts his second flying lap. No traffic for him, so no worries there for the guy who is currently second in the Drivers' Championship as he looks to try and get the pole back for Franco Lopez. Down towards turn 2 then. We'll go the 7-time winner here this season. Of course, got the most wins than anybody this season, but his inconsistency has been the thing as to why he's not leading the Drivers' Championship. But he's now up on Lopez in the first sector. But interestingly enough, he's 7 thousandths down off his personal best in the first sector. So he's got to try and recover some time in the second sector, which is possible if he wants to try and get pole. So it does indicate to me that Lopez didn't have the best first sector when compared to Carr, but gained it back in the last 2 sectors there. So Carr now then into the hairpin. He will go now then using all the curb on the inside and all the curb on the outside as well, making his way down the back straight before making his way towards the left-hander now then as the spray continues to kick up on the Mercedes there as he'll now make his way down towards the left-hander. And let's see what Armar Carr can do in the second sector. Can he get up on Franco Lopez? That is the question now then as he makes his way towards the end of the second sector. And he is up. He's found some time on Lopez in that second sector. 73 thousandths up on his personal best in the second sector and nearly 2 tenths up on Lopez in the second sector. So Carr on a good lap here as he now makes his way through the left-hander. As long as he doesn't make a mistake like Fabio Quartararo did in real life this past weekend in MotoGP, he should be able to get the pole off of Lopez. But let's see. Carr now then heading towards the final 2 corners on the racetrack, flicking the car in for the left-hander, and then into the final corner will come Armar Carr. Through the final corner and onto the pit straight now then will go the Brit now then as he makes his way onto the pit straight. And Armar Carr, can he get to the top of the timing sheets across the line? And yes, he can by 2 tenths of a second, a 1:49.468. And Carr goes to the top of the timing sheets. De Rosa, meanwhile, is up on his personal best, heading his way into the final corner and onto the pit straight now then will go the Polish driver, soon to be Italian of course from next season, Kirishima De Rosa, across the line, and he goes up to third. A really good time there from Kirishima De Rosa. Gamba meanwhile up on his personal best. Let's see what he can do compared to Carr as he makes his way onto the pit straight now then. Franco Gamba across the line he go. Can he dethrone Armar Carr? I don't think he will, and no, he loses time in the last sector. Burn up on his personal best, he goes up to 5th. Roland Motrin, last lap for him, and he doesn't improve, stays in 4th. As meantime, there's a bit of a hold up there between Galloway and Gal. So Gal, this is not going to be good for him because he's down in 8th, and it doesn't look like he's improving. As Lopez is up. I think Lopez might be up on Carr now. Then meanwhile, Galloway across the line he goes. No improvement. Gal, no improvement. Lopez goes fastest by 3 tenths of a second. A 1:49.089 for him there. Roberto Gamba not up on his personal best, and he's going to stay in P7. Chatfield, meanwhile, is up on his personal best. Across the line then will go Chris Chatfield. And what can he do? Across the line he goes, and he stays in 10th. He improves but stays in 10th position. And there are those runs done with then. And that's Q3 done. And it is Franco Lopez who will take pole position for tomorrow's United States Grand Prix. There's no time left for any of the guys to do a third qualifying lap, so it is going to be Franco Lopez who will start tomorrow's United States Grand Prix from pole position, and a very good last lap there indeed. Roland Motrin finished in 4th, which means that he will be starting in 14th place for tomorrow's United States Grand Prix due to his 10th place grid penalty. But the star of the moment, you'd have to say, Ra, Kirishima DeRosa in 3rd position.
Yep, indeed. Brilliant lap from him, and the Red Bulls 6th and 8th. Really disappointing for them, but they will move up by 1 position. They'll move up to 5th and 7th. But that's not what the qualifying session they need.
Yeah, indeed. Really, really bad qualifying there, especially Gal, who got held up there by Galloway. Had he not been held up by Galloway, who knows where he could have been. But he's going to be starting in 7th tomorrow, of course, because of his fellow compatriot taking a 10-place grid penalty. I think we're just going to wait for the timer to tick down, and then we're going to take a look at a full lap of Lopez's pole time. And take a look at how he got pole position on that final lap. So, like I said, just waiting for the seconds to tick down, and then we'll take a look at a lap of Franco Lopez's pole lap as he now makes his way back into the pit lane. As he now comes into pit lane now, then we'll go the Argentine as he flicks on the pit limiter. Just waiting for the seconds to tick down to indicate officially the end of queue number 3, 19, 18, 17, and then 16. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, and then it's going to be 7, then 6, then 5, then 4, then 3, then 2, then 1, then 0, and that's a checker flag is out. So now we're going to stay quiet for the moment and let you see Franco Lopez's pole lap.
Drop down, push for a higher place. Drop down, push for a higher place.
And that is how Franco Lopez took pole position for tomorrow's United States Grand Prix. A very good final lap indeed, especially after Carr took the pole back off him. But the question is, can Mercedes win the Constructors' Championship tomorrow and win a record 6th Constructors' title? Well, if it were to stay as they were tomorrow, they would achieve that. But anything can happen in racing, and it usually does. I think one way that they'll want to try and win it is, of course, hope that Lopez and Carr don't come to blows. But anyway, here is your top 10 then. It is Franco Lopez on pole with Amar Kar in second. Kirishima De Rosa, very impressive third for him. Roland Motrin ended up in fourth, but he will drop to 14th due to his 10th place grid penalty. So it's going to be Evan Byrne who will start in fourth. Franco Gamba in fifth. Roberto Gamba sixth. Then Miklos Gal seventh. Jake Galloway eighth with Chris Chatfield in ninth. And rounding out the top 10 for the grid tomorrow will be George Roke, who ended up in 11th in this session. So what do you make of that session overall in the end, Ra?
A really interesting session with between the Mercs as well. Carl got held up on the first lap, but he got it together, took it away from Lopez, but Lopez had more time to find it, and he found it, and he took pole back away from Armor Car.
Also struggling Red Bulls as well. They've got work to do tomorrow. Well, that has been it then for the qualifying session. I hope you've enjoyed it. Hopefully it's going to be a very exciting session. And the question is, will Mercedes win the Constructors' title tomorrow? Of course, in order for them to win it, they just need to outscore Red Bull by just 1 point. And the Constructors' Championship, a record 6th Constructors' title, will be theirs. But that has been it then. I hope you enjoyed it. Of course, we're not done with live streams for today because later on tonight at 7 p.m. BST, so in just over an hour and 10 minutes time, GP2 will be having their penultimate race of the season over at Laguna Seca, so just over in California rather than Texas, for their United States Grand Prix, which sees Carl Burns, the home favourite, on pole position from Aaron Curtis and Rahul Patel, with Aaron Curtis, of course, having a slim shot at winning the title today. He does have a slim chance of winning it today, but he does need quite a lot of luck to go his way. If I'm being realistic, I think the championship will realistically go down to the wire, but you never know, of course. Anything can happen in racing, and it usually does. And also, Uni Virtuosi, of course, also have a slim chance of winning the team's title. But like with Aaron Curtis, they will need a lot of luck to do so. And like with the driver's title, I think that will also go down to the wire. But we will see. But anyway, that has been it then, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. So thank you all for watching. I've been JW97. He's been Ra. Of course, we don't do the commentary because we let George do that for the highlights for the race. And we will see you guys tomorrow at 5 p.m. BST for the 56th lap United States Grand Prix. Till then, take care.
Bye.